And what is the most important premise for everyone to pay attention to, close attention, is that we have all of the information regarding who murdered Charlie. It's all here. And you are going to very, very, very soon find somebody taking all of the information and all of the quotes and timelines from Candace in particular, and all of the deep dives from Barron and all of the other great and brave chroniclers, and all of the leaked audio of, you've got to go back and you've got to listen again to Erika's leaked audio in particular, and that famous Zoom call where she uses a word, I can't believe it, just after so many days after, and she uses the assassination term, she uses this, and she has in this a tone of voice which shows not a usual bereaved wife. Put all of this together, feed it into, and you're going to see this, some huge AI processor that is going to be able to handle and process so many facts simultaneously. And we know in this is the evidence of either who killed him, because it's not Tyler Robinson. And you're going to find out, and it will provide you with the list of where to go next, which is critical. Where do you go next? Where do you follow next? Because it's all there. These people were too stupid. Now, that's not to say that Erika herself is involved or anybody in particular. But at this point, I can say, I don't know anything. I don't know anything. I don't think there's any evidence of this so far, but I can't rule anything out. Can you? Can you honestly tell me that you can rule anything out? Do you really can, after all you've heard from what you know in life, do you really think you or anybody else can possibly to say, that's impossible? And when you mean involved, you can be involved at so many levels. You can be a part of a conspiracy, and each one leads to more information from somebody else. It's all there. These people are so stupid. A conversation with this one. Why are people lying about facts? It's almost as though they're trying to cover something up. Why is there such a discrepancy as to flying into a stupid airport? Why are you lying about that? Unless somebody somewhere says, we've got to either establish some kind of an alibi or a new official narrative or something, because this isn't working. All of the information is there. Mrs. Ellen and I saw this piece, this great documentary today called The AI Doc, or How I Became an Apocalyptimist. The AI Doc. Please see this. There's a lot of flaws in it, but it's very important. We are unable as normal humans to process all of the information that we're being given. Too much. There is too much. There is so much wonderful review that when you put it together, it points to so many questions that I have, because some of this just doesn't make any sense. And what it does is it gives you the perfect line of whom to deal with next, and whom should we go after next, and whom should we talk to next. It's all there. See, this is the part which is very interesting. In a I guess you would say a regular conspiracy of sorts, there are people who are kind of tangentially involved in the background. You know what I mean? They're sort of tangential. And each one of them shows an ability, shows a level of suspicion which I can't get around. And I'm thinking, I'm just listening to them. I'm watching this movie or this documentary. It was very good. It was great to be out during the day. We walked through, we were up on the Upper West Side. We walked through Lincoln Center, and everybody's showing up for the ballet, and they're in their best clothes, and it's getting dark later. It was, Upper West Side was just beautiful. San Juan Hill, as it used to be called. And as I'm watching this, and as I'm thinking this, there is none of this case makes any sense. Nobody's acting the way they should. And if you put all of the information, let me go a step further. Somewhere along the line, someone, somewhere has aerial shots of who's there. Facial recognition is available. If I put together all of the people from TPUSA, I'm also interested in where people were positioned on the actual stage prior to the shooting. What does that tell you about their belief in about their own particular safety? What does that tell you? I want to go through all of the questions. I want every bit of information, everything. I want a psychological portrait done, a review of Erika, going back to all of her phony baloney narratives about not having boyfriends and dating and drinking and all this other kind of stuff. And I'm going to put together this composite. Do you see what I'm saying? I've got a pool of metadata. And then we ask AI or a particular program or something of all of the suspects and where they were, because you have to coordinate all of this data. Where were they coming into Utah? Who left? Who? Give me all the statements made in public. You can't do this. We can't go to a board and put this up and put string and try to connect this. But AI will be able to do it. And it's going to solve something. And they'll be able to say, here are your suspects. Or this is a person who knew something. This is a person who absolutely knew something. Now, the idea, of course, is you get into the operational part of this. Somebody had to have done this. Without the information from the medical examiners, without the information, without pictures, without the ballistics, without the tox results, without all of this stuff. But let's assume we have it. Throw that in there, into this bin, this huge pile of metadata. Crime scene, then throw in the Tyler Robinson, then everything else, then all of the official stories, who changed their mind, throw into this. You definitely have, number one, conspiracy. There is a conspiracy, meaning at least two or more people involved in some type of nefarious activity. And by the way, Tyler Robinson could be a part of the conspiracy as well. He might have been duped. He might have been duped into thinking he's doing something when in fact he wasn't. We don't know anything because there's and the pretrial motions that are floating around there. And what about Twig or whatever the kid with the furry hat, his girlfriend, boyfriend, gay lover? As I'm watching this documentary, I'm thinking, wouldn't that be to take all of this story, all of this, and wouldn't you love, seriously, wouldn't you love, and by the way, to take all of the people, and let me explain something to you. When you bring up Andrew Colvett or whoever these other people are, they may not necessarily be involved in knowing what was going on. There's something that you know. Sometimes you can be part of something without necessarily being an active participant in moving the gears. There's something called LIHOP and MIHOP. Let it happen on purpose or make it happen on purpose. And there are some people who, for the longest times, I would like to know, what were the problems? And this is very important because remember, I'm asking questions. I have no suspects. People are going to try their best to extrapolate this and I'm saying whatever. No. But this doesn't make any sense. When you have regular homicides, you've got family members who acted normally. They came home from church. They walked in and found Uncle Joe in the back bedroom, apparently shot in his sleep, and that's it. And nobody's got an alibi. Everybody was there. There's no question. Nobody's not crying. Nobody's not reacting weird. Homicide after homicide is clear cut. They know exactly who did it. We know exactly who did it. And I also want to go back and I'm going to find out specifically what is it that he purportedly said, this is Tyler, to his parents. What specifically were, and I want to know under what circumstances. And when the parents spoke, did they have counsel? What I'm trying to tell you, my friend, is that the level of investigation that is required can only be done through an AI system. There's no way. We can't do it. There's too much. There's too much. Just the data. Just if I can take the work that Barron has done, that Candace certainly has done, Nis C and others, because they have individual original reviews. They have individual reviews, individual original investigation. They're not just plugging in other people's work. That little part of the puzzle can allow an AI to say, this is weird. What? Give me some hypotheses why people would be where they were and why they would lie about where they were. Why? Why was this happening? Next, and this is something that we'll never know, I want to know all the threats that Charlie had. All the threats. All of them. Who was in charge of his security? And I want also to sit and to say, for no particular reason, I would give anything just to have, just again, and let me say this again, repeating it, and I keep saying again, and again. I have no reason nor have anybody to believe that Erika is directly involved in anything. There's just nothing. Just because you're weird, just because you live on another planet, and just because you react like nobody else does to the slaughter of your husband, when you're talking about merch sales, I listened again to her. You can't believe this audio. You can't believe it. You can't believe it. This is not again, she's not very bright, but she doesn't understand. You sound exactly like somebody who not only knew about what was happening, but was glad that it happened. There isn't a drop of sadness in your voice. This is the weirdest thing. But I would love to sit with her. I kind of like in a Mike Wallace movement say, let me ask you something, if you don't mind, Erika. Does this sound odd to you? Let me play for you. This is 6 days, 11 days, whatever it was, after the dispatch of your children's father. There were people here. There were kids. There were folks in the TPUSA family. They can't even talk. They can't even sleep. They can't even. These people are so beside themselves. They are absolutely crying and howling in horror as to what's happening. Howling in horror. And you show this absolutely incredible sense of, I don't know what it is. How do you do this? She actually uses the word assassination. She actually talks about 100 million and new chapter signups, and she talks about hat sales. Erika, please, 1111. The number of people listening, 1111, or watching, 1111. Numerology? Couldn't hurt. How do you do this? How did you do this? How did you days after this? Tell me the moment when you couldn't get out of bed. Did you ever have any of those? Did you call for a pastor or something? Anybody come and see you? Because Erika, you're not going to believe this, but I've got about 10 or 15 people here who are going to say that you were in incredibly good form. Incredibly good form. How's that? This is the thing which is the most important. How do you explain this? This is the thing which we need serious. I mean, this has to be at somehow addressed by someone, somewhere. And I don't know what the best way to do this is. Is this going to be it? Well, certainly it would be Candace. And I'm not saying this because, we love Candace. Candace is great. Everything. Candace is the smartest person. And Candace, by the way, is in command of the facts. The facts are the most important. You have to know you have to know the name of the airstrip and the town and the person and Colvin's ex-wife's middle name or whatever, if he has one. You've got to know all of these things, and she certainly has it. Because right now we're in this realm. We're just kind of spinning our wheels. And it's like, okay, this is interesting. Very, very fascinating. A lot of interesting things about who did what, why she acted like this, why she acted in these weird ways, in these strange ways. But it's going to run out of gas. We can't keep doing timelines. That's not going to work. People are losing the focus. Believe it or not, it's more important to go back and just focus a little bit more on Erika. Because when you talk about he flew in here, he took this plane, he took this, but he never came in at 10:42, but 8:42, and he came in not at this airport, but at the air. That is incredible. That's a great bit of data for the AI engines to work. Because you've got to get her in front of the people. Once the country sees her reaction, and you can lure her because she's not smart enough, she'll take the bait. If you could lure her, get her on some kind of an official, a very serious, not a Barry Weiss interview, but to slip in a white hat into this whole thing and say, by the way, while I've got you here, what do you say to people who claim that you didn't react normally? What do you say to those people, those horrible people who suggest that during the course of this, you were more concerned with, and then you could talk about, hat sales and that. What do you say about that? And to zero in and hope she gives you the lies. Excuse me, are those the evil eyes that you're giving? Are those it? Her insert opinion says her lack of feelings and emotions she would call being stoic. Well, no, what's funny? She that's a great point. She has emotion, but not regarding Charlie. She has emotions regarding her. This is the part. This is the most interesting thing. And I appreciate, for example, I like a lot of gray point. And this is I love when people come up with ideas and they will have these very, very interesting theories. Look at this one, for example. I'm sure this is a nice one. YouTubers like you and Candace and all the rest will have not figured out what the psyop was. Now, this, of course, this is in your quiver, in your usual conspiratorium, knowing the parlance, psyop, false flag, cognitive dissonance, whatever. It's this thing, distraction, but listen to this. YouTubers like you and Candace and all the rest still have not figured out what the psyop was. They faked the shooting death of Charlie, and until you understand that, you will never know the truth. Now, fake this is I'm again. I appreciate your faked the shooting, or faked the shooting death, or faked the death. You cannot be imprecise, and I appreciate that. But this is what you got to be careful of. You cannot throw something out without saying, here's why I believe that happened. Here is why I believe the shooting or the or the wound or the event. We can't throw things out. It makes us look stupid, crazy. For example, that was an imposter. You know how these CIA with their masks, right? I'm just saying this. I know people would say, that's cool. Not the factual, the legitimacy of it, or the chance of it happening, but the idea of that as a plot line. See, to some people who've never done any kind of murder investigation, they just like storylines. And that would be cool. I just made that one up. I'm not saying that. But would you say to fake the shooting death? You see, this is where the people who they're deliberately, sometimes they'll introduce people into the mix, like we're saying that they fake, Epstein's death. They do that as well. And they'll point to some guy in Miami. Did you see this? Or somewhere he looks like kind of like Epstein, sort of, but with a beard. It makes us look crazy. They deliberately deposit these people in, spread that, and then the next thing you know, they say, see, these people are crazy. They did this with John Kennedy Jr. They said not only was John Kennedy Jr. alive, they would point to this guy. Remember this one years ago? They would point to him out of the crowd and go, there he is. And it was nowhere. It was insane. Why? To make the entire argument seem insane. Now, I don't think you should jump on people, or people can say whatever they want. This is a free country. But understand something. There are people here who this is a joy for them. It's fun. It's just sitting back, and it's like, like watching Dallas or something, where you get to throw in a plot line. See, in the old days when you watched, remember Who Shot JR? They would say, who shot JR? We would say, or some of the people today would say, oh no, they didn't shoot JR. It's the imposter who looks like JR, who Ray brought in. You go, wait a minute, you're where did you get that from? I just made that up. But that's not in the script. I never said it was. I just like that. There are people who, for example, during the JFK assassination, would say that it was the Secret Service agent who turned and shot. Whenever somebody would come up and bring up a conspiracy theory regarding Lee Harvey Oswald, they'd say, "Oh, you mean like the Secret Service person?" You see, so whenever we have somebody come in and just say something, you people don't understand something. I know this. See, I know COINTELPRO. This is MK, and they throw everything up. It's MK Ultra. This is Operation Artichoke. This is Deep Sky, Blue Sky. This is Paperclip somehow. These are Nazi scientists. Just they say this stuff, and they want to do it for a number of reasons. Number one, to say it, but also to show everybody else, I know the lingo. I know the facts. I know this. I'm going to throw in DARPA, and I'm going to throw in maybe, who knows? I'm trying to think of something. Jekyll Island, and bring in the Fed, or Bohemian Grove. They'll just throw things in. And they love to weigh in and go, don't you idiots understand what's going on? That's not what this is. It's such and such. See, Erika is really a part of, she's deep state, and they'll just say stuff. And you say, that's fascinating. How do you know that? Well, I know proof of it. Who needs proof? Well, we need proof. We don't just say things like this. You see what I'm saying? And we don't make an accusation against somebody unless there's some kind of proof that you could say, you know what? I want to follow that guy. I think that's interesting. Now, let me tell you something. Please, if you're going to understand. Everybody involved in TPUSA, all of the Colvitts and this and the guy and that, they are all, pardon my French, please hide the kids, pussies, little boys, little children who would, pardon my French, shit on themselves if they ever had to get involved in something really what would you call it? Oh, wet works, right? You love that term. So don't look at these people. They can't keep their mouth shut. They would squeal like a kid. You can't get them involved in anything. And Erika is earth stupid, mud fence, rock stupid. There's nobody. She's crass. She's unfeeling. She's not a psychopath. She's just a lot of things. And what people don't understand also is that she's one of these folks who you wouldn't let her get near this. Seriously. She wouldn't. She would sing if she. Do you really think that she would actively be a part of something? No way. But the people she talks to, the folks she talks to, that's another story. That can lead them. The real information, the people behind this are behind the scenes, well behind the scenes. Okay? And people love to come up with an answer right away. They love to do that. It's fun. It's great to be able to say, well, here's my theory. Here's my theory. And you've heard this before. It's Israel. Why? Well, because Bibi Netanyahu came out right away and said, we had nothing to do with it. Aha, he did it. That's your, good. Go to a grand jury with that one. Go to the grand jury. Yes, we'd like an indictment. I want you to order a true bill against Bibi Netanyahu. Why? Well, because he said right away, we had nothing to do with it. So he denied it? And the denial, well, it was the timing. It was a little quick. Who else but somebody involved in it would say we had nothing to do with it that fast? Okay, here's another theory. How about somebody that you know was going to be linked to this one way or the other? People are actually using this. I've heard this. People are they're saying this is a reason to believe this because he said this. That's not going to work. That's not helpful. Or, well, you know what happened because Charlie went and had that Hamptons meeting, and they basically put the pressure on him not to go hard on Israel. So obviously they did it because, well, it could be, but that's not proof. That's a kind of let's look in that direction. The thing that gets me is that if we don't have information, crime scene stuff, angles, ballistics, experts, recreation of the scene, who was there, you'll never know today with all of those folks, with all the facial recognition. Everybody, I'll bet you, every single person in that crowd most probably has either a cell phone or a device where they have indicated or introduced some form of biometric into it. Their face, their eyes, something or other. And you can take scans of people. SCADs, scans. China taught us that one. Don't think we're not exchanging information with them. They do this in crowds all the time. What if I told you it's possible to have a list of everybody who was there? Now, you got to ask yourself, why would an assassin be there why? Why? In Dallas, November 22nd, 1963. You think anybody in that motorcade was a part of the actual hit team? No. So what good is it? They're over there. Anyway, so we start off with the premise that Tyler Robinson, it makes no sense, the story, but then again, we have to have information released to us. I want to know more about him. He is not even being discussed. Nobody's even talking about him. Nobody anywhere is talking about him. Period. Zip. But bring her in and watch her start to talk and watch her start to say, well, Erika, did you ever notice anything? Yes, I did. Because Erika, you're in a load of shit right now, young lady. And unless you help us out, did you notice anything? Yes, I did. Because she will squeal. She's not hard. She's not into this stuff. She's not hardened by this. None of these. Do you see these other little twits? These fools. Do you understand this? You know these people. How do I say this? You know these. How do I say that? These kids. These folks who go on this stupid Charlie Kirk show. Have you seen this? This is the best. Do you think these people had anything to do with it? Now, when I say anything, do you think so? Look at them. They have these ridiculous these stupid meetings, and they're still talking about basically they're trying to salvage TPUSA in a very strange way. I don't think they had anything to do with it. Remember, these people they're not tough. Do you think if you went to these people and said, listen, I want you to be a part of a hit, what? You would pick him? Any of these kids? Who's that little kid? What's that kid's name he wrote the book? He was on Fox. What's his name? Huh? Bryn. You think Bryn Holly had anything to do with it? Are you kidding me? So what are we doing? So let me go back. Where are we now? Where do we go? What's the next step? This is going to go away. We can't. Somebody's got to tell Kash Patel or somebody, have you enlisted an official Department of Justice or FBI investigation to find out if indeed this is important? Do you understand? Is there anything about this particular case that would behoove us to follow up on as to who was involved in this? Because we're going to lose it. It's going to go away. We're going to be talking about, tarmac stuff, which is interesting, but that doesn't get, you got to connect this. People are still asking, this is great. What does that have to do with whatever it is? How many believe the official story right now? Very simple. How many believe the official story? I say to you, how many of you believe, this is very important, how many of you believe in the official story that Tyler Robinson acted alone? Do you? How many? Look at this. Just got this in. See this? Ground stop at all DC airports, PWI, Dulles, Reagan, due to an unknown operational issue with traffic control. That's going to hit the fan big time there. Oh, we've been seeing today over the Hudson drones, Ospreys. Who believes? I want especially all of our great conspiracy theorists here who seem to know what's going on about psyops and the like, and that's terrific, and I appreciate that. Who honestly believes? Who believes this? Where are we going with this? If he didn't do it, or if his role in this is minimal, where is the investigation going? They're going to walk away from this. The case is getting cold. There's all the evidence has been cleaned up and paved over. We're talking about stuff which is interesting. I like it. Listen, we're not the FBI. We're not what am I trying to say? We're not a grand jury. And there's some other stuff which is terrific. By the way, just as an aside, tell me, let me ask you this. How pissed off do you think, different subject, but still to give you an idea of the mindset, how pissed off do you think Erika is when Grok believed that Drewski was her? AI. How pissed do you think that joke was, or that one, that they're mocking her? And she probably thinks that because this Drewski's not a slight person, she probably thought it was a fat joke or something, which it wasn't. How many of you think she is absolutely losing her part? Please, it's not my nature. Losing her shit over the fact that they're mocking her. How many of you believe that this woman says, you don't understand? They love me. They love me. I'm admired. Who does this guy think he is? And it's like, no, Erika, you're a joke. You don't understand it. See, this is the beautiful part. They're detached. What do you mean I'm a joke? What are you talking about? No. They're not doing. People aren't joking at you or laughing at you because they're jealous of you. They're laughing at you because you're a joke. You've never been taken seriously ever. And your people, and by the way, your TPUSA crowd, there isn't anybody there that people say, wow, that's an impressive person. I mean, seriously, honest to God, you people are just, I don't even know. I've never seen this. It blows my mind. And when you look at cable news, and I'm sorry to an extent, Republican, like that Ted Cruz and these others, did you not get the memo? She's a joke. Nobody believes it. This is the part that kills me. I mean it. It blows my mind. Now, we can sit around and we can say, well, you know, we've got these people, and I know they mean well. Oh, this is a psyop, see? And what they did was they faked his death. Oh, would you stop? Who is it? I don't know, but that's what I do. I just say stuff like this, see? Because I don't know anything, but I like to make stuff up and use my imagination. Yeah, that's it. That's what I do. They're laughing at us. They think we're just being mean. We're saying, no. Look, if tomorrow Erika says, I'm leaving, great, terrific, I don't care. Who killed Charlie? Who killed him? When are we going to pay attention to this? When are we going to demand it? When are we going to demand to have letter writing? I wish some of us would say, I want everybody to email, blast them, to have can you imagine 5 million emails coming in to everybody who subscribes to all of us, certainly with Candace at the top, to send something to Cash Patel. Why don't you, I know, get on your private plane with your Loretta Lynn girlfriend and go there and start investigating this. Because a constituency says, this guy was too big. Only you would not. You don't just, if somebody took out Billy Graham, maybe you forgot this, but Billy Graham was one of the biggest things anybody's ever seen. If somebody took out Billy Graham from the old days, can't you not understand how huge that is? You don't think Nixon would have said, you better get to the bottom of this? Charlie Kirk was bigger than anything anybody's ever seen. Charlie Kirk was enormous. This is not, Charlie Kirk wasn't married to this ditz and, hey, isn't she weird? And, she bought an aloe clothes. I don't care about that. That's not it. But somebody somewhere, you can say, sit down, Erika. Did you ever notice anything? Did you see anybody during the course of this that made you say, wow? Because Erika, it'd be nice for you to come clean, because I'm not saying this, but a lot of people always suspect the wife. And you know what some people are saying? I'm not saying this, but they're saying that you always wanted to be at the top. And you thought for sure that Charlie would somehow bring you into it, but you found out you were just the wife. You were just the wife with the 2 kids, and that's it. But you had big plans for yourself. And this was your chance. That's why you married him. You married him because of that. He was a rube. He was a hick. He was this kind of like this impressionable kid, and you threw it all in him. Okay, fine. You threw it in his face, and he bit, so to speak. And then guess what? You were nowhere to be found. Nowhere. You never had your chance. But then again, you never really had your act down, because all you did was say things like praise God or praise Jesus. You can't do that every 5 minutes. You have to have something that's a little bit serious. And then you decide to take on these people. And remember something, Erika, and this is the best part. Remember, now what I would also do, I don't know if this is true, but I know the way law enforcement works. It is possible for them to come into a room, so to speak, and say, listen, Colvit's talking, the other one's talking, TPUSA is talking, everybody's talking. You understand this? Everybody's talking. And they're giving up you. You know that, Erika? They're talking about you. Because they're going to throw you under the bus, because they look at you as the impediment. Now, whether it's true or not, that's what they do. So listen, you want to beat them to the punch? Is there anything about this? What about this one? What about this, for example? Erika, would you know anybody who might be, let's say, theoretically, pilfering, sequestering funds? Have you done a miniature Doge type of investigation? And if so, do you think maybe somebody could have had that leveraged against them to look the other way, blackmailed? You see how one thing leads to the other? Somebody might not have been in charge, but they might have known something that's going on that would have made somebody else vulnerable. Somebody that could have given away information, or somebody who could have done. Are you aware of a palace coup? Are you aware of anything that's going on in there? Because let me tell you something. And again, can't say this again. Can't say it enough. I'm not blaming any. I don't have any suspects at all. But I know how things would work. And let me tell you something. If you're in an organization or you're a part of something, and you got a guy named Charlie Kirk who is a pain in the ass, and you don't like him, and he's not playing ball for whatever reason, okay? For whatever reason. And you wanted to maybe do a quick, who better than somebody who is that in the crosshairs to begin with? It's perfect. You know, it's one thing when you've got some guy who's a regional manager of Home Depot. What does that have to do with it? Charlie Kirk, the list of suspects, where do you start? But you do know, though, that when something like that happens, all the intel folks, all the military, all the police, they say, ooh, we know by virtue of where it came from, how the shot was done, certain little tricks of the trade. And what they're going to do is they're not going to be telling you what happened because they don't want to let you know. They don't want to, they don't want to let it out of the bag, so to speak. So that's the way they're pretending. Well, we'd love to confirm this, but we can't because, well, there's other people involved. We don't want to. But more people hated him. There's more motivation than you can imagine. Just in TPUSA alone. Who wanted him? This guy did. Charlie was talking a lot of stuff the same way JFK was about the CIA. We're to break it into a million pieces. Well, Charlie didn't say that, but he was getting tired of this stuff. Remember this? There was a lot of stuff at the end, and he just did not care for this. Now, again, this needs, you and I can sit around all day long with all of our fellow geniuses who come forward and say that it was a fake. It was a fake. They're saying that they faked his death. Did you hear that somebody wrote this? It was a fake. That was a fake. Okay. There has to be sometimes at least alternative theories by their nature tend to be a little far-fetched, but you have to ask yourself, is there even any chance for this? But all I'm saying, my friend, is very, very simply, this is the biggest story, and we are going to lose it because it's just going to lose. It's going to just get so weighed down with interesting facts. Don't get me wrong, but things that don't really matter. I want to get to the bottom of this. And the pressure has to be said, what are you doing? What are you really, what have you, strike that. Cash, what investigation is the Department of Justice even handling? Is it doing anything? And if not, why? Do I have to remind you of what they did to Nancy Guthrie? They let her get nabbed and nothing happened. A case with that much attention from a woman who was worth $40-50 million, and they did this. Anything's possible. Momo says, lying about the basics is a red flag. Useful idiot or not, involvement is involvement. Well, not only that, involvement might also, thank you, by the way, involvement may also add not so much evidence of involvement, but just why are you acting weird? There's no reason for you to act weird. Why are you lying about where you were on the day and you flew in and when you landed, you waited on a plane a half an hour? Remember the old story? I can't even keep track of this. To fall in the arms of COVID? What? I don't understand this. This is ridiculous. Most people say, I got to get there now. And you get there and you land and you get in a car and you grab the police and you say, tell me what you know. What do you know? You don't sit in a plane and wait, or you don't worry about these moments, these Calgon moments, or, where they're running in the fields. I mean, this is nuts. And all these other people, like Fox News and others, and Barry Weiss, they don't even have the temerity or the guts to say, excuse me, this story that you're saying, Erika, is bullshit. It doesn't make any sense. They don't do that. They're there to perpetuate something else. And then you get the Ted Cruz's. Oh my God. Why are you believing that? Not believing it, but why is your concern that somebody may criticize the way she grieves? Remember that one? We all grieve in different ways. And I'm telling you, Drewski, God bless you. He cut through it. It wasn't about white Christians or whatever. That might have been a part of it. And yeah, it was a white face. And we can argue that. That's an interesting point to an extent. But what he really did, more than anything else, what he really did was he got to the bottom of this. He said, this is what people are thinking. You're phony. Look how you're dancing and you're doing all this kind of stuff. People don't act like that. Why? Sit her ass down, put the camera on and say, Erika, why do you act like that? How can you, people are asking, who in their right mind, instead of being home with their daughters and sons and children, trying to console them, explaining what happened, especially after, and the kids are going to see pictures. These terrible friends of theirs are going to say, did you know what's happened to your dad? They're going to be traumatized. And what in the name of God are you doing? Nothing. That's the question to ask. You're worrying about merch sales, hats, recruitment. That's don't even go to the next question. How did you do that? This composure of yours. Hey, guy, what is this? That's number one. Other stuff we could talk about, whether she exploited his death. Yeah. But Drewski got it exactly. Exactly. It was perfect. And that probably killed her more than anything else. Right? That, it. I don't want to lose this case. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I'm like everybody else. I love sometimes the carping and the cat fighting and the rant. It's fun. It is. The way she did this, she wore this, she acted like this, and she said this. But meanwhile, this is a murder case. This is an unsolved murder case. And nobody's talking about it. And that bothers me very, very much. And I think the thing is that we have to make sure that we have to reassess our moves and take all of our manpower, our sizable heft, and turn it around and force. And by the way, this would be a great challenge, a great kind of a beta test, to send it to Cash's way and say, what are you doing about this? Dan Bongino and Cash were the same ones who poo-pooed the whole Epstein case. Remember that? Dan Bongino, that he's through. He's just done. And anybody who finds him remotely interesting, much less relevant, goes to tell you where they're all about. But anyway, this is the part that blows my mind. How in the name of God does this even happen? How in the name of God? This happened September the 10th. Okay? So this is 3 months plus 3.5 months. I mean, this is just going nowhere. How many of you worry that this is going to go bye-bye? How many of you worry that we're losing valuable time? How many of you are upset with the fact that law enforcement has not really gone after these people? How many of you are dissatisfied with the fact that we're just talking about stuff that doesn't make any sense? I mean, it does, but it doesn't. There's no pressure put on her. There's no pressure. Nobody. There's no, I don't want this to go away. I don't want this to go away. And I don't want this all the way, by the way, to just slip off into oblivion as we have fun talking about, stupid things and what she said. And And listen, there is so, oh my God, there is so much to break down. Even that friend of hers, remember the friend who came to help her? It's nuts. Remember Mitch Snow's son they tried to impeach his testimony, who basically came forward and says, no, he was there. Has anything ever, I mean, Egyptian planes are interesting and that's great, but unless I can put this together in a narrative, I've got to be able to do something where I'm able to focus this. I don't want the killers of this to get away with it. And I think that all of the people that we know have probably more information that they may not even know about, but it might be interesting. It may be relevant to show the people who were involved in this. I'd love to sit down with Erika and say, answer me this question. The same way I would ask Jackie Kennedy, do you think Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone? Nobody did. Nobody did. So I'd love to ask Erika, do you think that this guy, this numbnuts, this benighted moonbat, Tyler, on his own, said, I'm going to drive forever to this place because all of a sudden I'm sentient. I'm aware of the plight of the cross, whatever, and I'm going to go there and I'm going to address this. It's what? Why? What did he say? If anything, he was probably kinder than anybody else. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. And then he's going to use Grandpa's shooting iron and said, you better would you go get that? Tells his girlfriend, the gay lover, would you go back and get that for me now? This is what kills me. Because Granddaddy's going to be upset if I use a shooting iron because that was an heirloom. You're looking at life in prison. Who cares about a rifle? Nobody. Who's writing this script? Who's writing these stories? This is not ChatGPT. Somebody else wrote this. Nobody's believing this story. Is that you and the Dairy Queen talking? How much have you shot? You actually decided that day. There are snipers, military snipers, who have to go into correct breathing. And a lot of people say, wow, wasn't that tough of a shot? Oh, everybody's an expert. Oh, people are an expert on this and bomb making and sniping. Don't let Charlie Kirk's death go. Play the leaked audio. Play the information. Let people know. Make them aware of it. Get a hold of one of these true crime podcast joints. Get these people involved. Let them find out specifically what it is that's going on. This is I'm serious. This is critical stuff. When people hear this, they won't be able to believe it. They won't. We got to get that out. That's the stuff that's critical. Now, that will start to make them say, wait a minute, this story doesn't make any sense. This story doesn't make any sense. Yes, a lot of it doesn't make any sense. Who speaks for Charlie? And Kash Patel, what are you doing? You've heard my thing. By the way, Mrs. L, and I say right now, the AI doc, you've got to watch this. They pass these things on and you can fill them out and all this stuff. I don't know if anybody really grasped the essence, the gravamen of the issue. I'm not sure. But I am telling you, believe me when I'm telling you, artificial intelligence, before you know it, is going to be the existential threat, potentially, to your and everyone's civilization. Because of the fact of what it does. Because of the fact that you can't turn it off. And they mentioned AGI. It had Eliezer Yudkowsky up, one of my favorites. They had all of these great, they had Sam Altman was in this documentary, and they lied and obfuscated their way around it. Be aware of this, my friends. Pay attention. This is the story. Don't think that Ted Cruz is going to do anything about it, or the administration, or anybody, because they're in bed with these people. This is serious. It's not if, but there will come a time when you will not be able to turn off AI or AGI, and it's happening. So that's that, my friends. So Mrs. L and I, by the way, we had a wonderful time last night. Thank you for your kindness towards her. It was beautiful and beauteous. Please follow her at Lynn's Warriors on YouTube. That means a lot to me. Absolutely, positively a lot. It was so terrific. And we're also, by the way, a lot of the people in this AI thing, she had worked as well. You know, let me see if I can explain this. If you really want to be an activist, if you really want to be a part of this, either on YouTube or whatever it is, you got to understand there's a lot of moving parts to this. And my goal, going back to the original thing with Charlie, my goal is to justice for Charlie, not to just have fun mocking Erika Kirk, which I love. It's just fun because she's that despicable sometimes. She's stupid. But that's not my goal. That's not my goal. That's not my thing. If they said tomorrow, okay, look, we'll get the real people behind the murder of Charlie, but you can never mention Erika again. Please, guaranteed. I'd love to. I got stuff to talk about. She's not worth it. She's just so sloppily stupid that I can't help that. Is everybody else doing well tonight? By the way, this is just our YouTube folks. Where's everybody from? Let's do a roll call. It's beautiful tonight here in New York City. It is right now. Well, they say it's 43, but wasn't that beautiful walking by Central? I'll put a picture up. We walked by Lincoln Center, and what was that? The ballet, and people were getting. It's just spring is around the corner. I hope that we have peace. All of our troops come home. We focus on what's going on. Kash Patel gets his head out of his ass. Send some FBI agents, DOJ. Get to the bottom of this. I want there to be justice. That's all. I'm not a complicated person. You tell me. Look at this. Look at this right now. Brad Rung said, no, Brad says, you missed my chat. R.I.P. James Tolkien. Thank you, Brad. Brad was the a fascinating actor. Not exactly everybody's front tip of their tongue, but thank you very much. I appreciate that. He passed away. Brad is our curator of death notices. He waxes funereal to give us an idea of whose birthday it is and also who passes away. You see where Dash Crofts this week passed from Seals Across and that sort of thing. So in any event, there was also, by the way, a story last night, which is the most important. Well, not important, but Southwest Airlines is charging people because if they're too fat, if they're too big. Do you think that's fair? Do you think it's fair for them to squeeze these seats in and to tell somebody, by the way, you're going to buy 2 seats? Why? Because you're just fat. Double that. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you? That's a huge story, a fascinating story. And one of the things which is most important about that is the fact that some people, believe it or not, they despise fat people. I mean, really, it's true. And this story comes up every now and then. It was one of those wild, incredible stories. You see the 25-year-old girl in, where was it? Was it Canada? She was so abused, so beat, so paralyzed by virtue of an attack that she took her own life. And I just, she'll get no play, no particular airtime, no particular airplay. It doesn't really matter. We're seeing parts of the country, by the way, under collapse. We are seeing the end of order at our airports. Do you like what's going on? Do you like what's going on? I hope that we don't. By the way, there should be more to what we're about. than merely one particular subject. But there's a lot going on in the world that's very, very scary. Very, very scary. And I've got to tell you something. We have got to do more to really get to the bottom of the Democrats. I'm sorry to tell you this, are a waste of time. Is it tomorrow? They're going to do that No King's March bullshit tomorrow. The Democrats don't want ICE to arrest people who are illegal aliens. The Democrats, you okay with that? Does that bother you? Does that bother you by any chance? I'm just saying. This is a party, an absolute party. Think about this. This is a very seemingly serious group of people who want to protect of all people, those individuals. Did you hear about Tiger Woods? Tiger Woods in a rollover crash. Arrested. Cops say he was impaired behind the wheel. Refused to give a urine sample. Maybe he could. Second rollover in 5 years. Third wreck since 2009. Don't be surprised if the president tells, what is her name, Trump? What's the mother's name? Vanessa. Don't be surprised if Trump says, do me a favor. Maybe not for your benefit, but lose this dirtbag. He's not worth it. Because that's his granddaughter, Kai. This guy's got serious problems. Rolling over, drinking and driving. There's no excuse for that. But I promise, more people will cover that today about the specifics of his drunk driving than what's going on regarding Charlie Kirk. They forgot about Charlie Kirk. Doesn't that get you? Doesn't that get you? Do you ever wake up and think to yourself, I'm living in a world that doesn't make any sense. I'm living in a world that does not make any sense whatsoever. Period. It just blows my mind. Watch what's happening. Watch what's happening, by the way, in Hungary. Here is this. Why do so many young men suffer from erectile dysfunction? Brad, you know this. Brad, you want to challenge this? Brad, wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Brad, you want to tackle that? Where do you start with that story? Okay, what seems to be the problem? Why do you think that is? Young men, you've got young men and you are suffering from, okay. So do you, this may be perhaps rude, or are these problems that you have with, dare I say, members of the opposite sex? Or under what context does this happen? Young men? I worry about our young men. I'll tell you what I'm afraid of. You know what? This is going to sound terrible. I'm sorry to say this, but I'm going to say it. A lot of them are not acting like young men. There's a part of being, please forgive me. Please, I'm sorry. But if you've got an adolescent boy and there is no point in his life where he's not acting like a horny three-peckered goat, there's something wrong here. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not trying to advocate this. I think that boys in particular should be gentlemen. I don't think they should do anything untoward. But this is the time when all of a sudden you are going from being a little boy, to this horrible, rather raucous, wild man that you've got to kind of tame. And this is, I'm sorry, this is nature. Not that you act out that thing, but you should not at that age be, what am I trying to say? You should not be exhibiting this. There's something very wrong here, because I don't think that young people are really enjoying being young. And one of the things about being young is being kind of crazy and being stupid to an extent. Again, look at this. Shocking speed of China's scientific rise. Where is our scientific rise? Do you have anything? Do we have anything? Or is there anything that we are doing that indicates such? NASA's make or break moonshot. How many of you folks believe that we should go to a moonshot, and better yet, how many, I know this is crazy, how many of you believe that we never went to the moon once? How many of you believe that we never, ever, ever went to the, how do I say this? That we ever went once? I told somebody and they said, that's crazy. He said, you really don't understand this, right? Elon plans, by the way, we saw this, to make human labor obsolete. Please see, this is called the AI doc. There's so much wild stuff going on that I think we should be talking about instead of Tiger Woods' thing. But anyway, but look, what are you gonna do? I'm just a caveman. Just a simple caveman living in your world, trying to make sense of your strange practices. I don't know what to tell you. I think people don't know what they're talking about. I don't think anybody. But then again, doesn't matter. But that's who we are. And I thank you for that. So please follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, for spending an hour and 6 minutes with us on this beautiful Friday night. Thank you for your contributions. Brad, thank you for the funeral notices. Appreciate it, my friend. And thank you. Keep following us. Keep following us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're going to keep at this thing. I want justice for Charlie. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going to leave you with this. I promise you, you don't have to mention anything about Erika Kirk again. I swear to you, it's fine with me. I want to get to the bottom of that. And I want to get to the people, not person, but the people who are responsible for taking that man out. He deserves better. They shot him down in the street like a dog. Like a dog. And we're going to stand up for him. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious night. Until tomorrow, don't forget the monkey's dead. Show's over, sue you. Ta-ta.